cried in every horror movie that you'll ever see.
That is not fucking true, and you know it.
That is true.
Not everything.
It will be. It will be.
You don't know. You don't know. In
They
this case, it was right. Yes.
Oh my
For
god.
once, I'm right.
Yeah, you're right about one thing.
Shush. Okay, now you're rubbing it in too hard. Hey guys, welcome back to the Charming Analysis podcast, and welcome to the 2024 season for our Halloween Spectacular.
Yep, we have finally started it again.
It is now Halloween time again,
Yay.
and thus we basically are reviewing horror movies for the whole month. So yeah.
Lovely.
And today, for our first episode of it, for our Halloween Spectacular for 2024.
Movies we've never seen before, I think.
Yeah, this was one we have never seen before.
No, I mean, all of them.
A lot of them I think we haven't. But anyway, so for today's podcast episode, for our first season episode of our Halloween Spectacular for the 2024 season, we are going to be talking about Cube.
Cube.
So, honey, why don't you explain what Cube is?
It's a baby's first psychological thriller movie.
I don't think it's a baby's first one.
I would consider that, but basically a couple people are trapped in a what would you call it?
Robotic mechanism cube.
Robotic mechanism cube that is like a maze, and there's traps in it, and they basically just try to find a way out of it. The maze.
Pretty much.
It's very bare bones.
Yeah. Pretty much the best thing I can summarize this as is like, picture Infinity Train, but horror related. And not as whimsical.
And kind of Infinity Train was kind of horror related.
Yeah, but picture like a more horror related Infinity Train. That's basically what essentially this is.
Kids died on the train. What are you talking about?
But still, like...
Kids died on that train if they fell off the thing.
But that's different.
How's that different?
I don't know.
How's that different? Just
Okay, fine.
Worlds and
I guess a better way to explain it would be Backrooms-esque inspiration mixes with a horror Infinity Train. Because that's kind of what they do a little bit.
I guess.
Anyway, so what did you think of Cube? Because here's the thing. Neither of us have seen this movie before. This came out 1997.
Yep.
So what did you think of Cube? I want to hear your thoughts first.
I thought it was a little nice independent film. But it is very
bare bone
and minimalistic when it's trying to talk about
stuff.
When it's trying to talk about like the psychological aspect to it.
Yeah,
I believe it's like yes, the thing could have just been built just to fuck with people, no purpose whatsoever, and that's fine. I'm cool with sadistic stuff like that. But then it's just like, well, it comes back to characters to me that like I know what I like that are just kind of one note in general. So I feel like if the characters don't aspire to be more than one note, but you're trying to tell like this whole thing of like, well, this whole psychological purpose to it.
It's technically a psychological thriller.
Yeah, but when you're trying to tell that with like one note characters, when your message is more than what you're giving your characters, it just turned out to be an okay like movie going experience for me. Basically,
yeah,
it was. And can you do a favor? Can you look up the budget for this movie real quick?
I can, but
it looks impressive for something that came out like in
1997. But here's the thing. So neither of us have seen this movie before. Heck, none of the actors in this look familiar. And then we found out it's a Canadian film.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting.
From our neighbors upstairs.
Let's see what the budget was for this. Budget. Is this interesting? Hold on.
What? If you're gonna say it was like
financial information.
If it
domestic, it says 1998, but whatever. Domestic box office, $489,000. International box office, 8,479,845, and worldwide 8,969,065. Product budget. Want to guess how much the product budget was?
1 million.
250,000.
Wow, this is a big hit.
Yeah.
Considerably.
According to this,
that's incredible.
But yeah, like, this movie, like, was like an hour 30 minutes first off. Mm-hmm. But that's impressive. The budget for that's impressive, honestly.
And you wonder why so many of people are like, no, $100 million per movie now. Inflation is fucked right now.
I know. But I will say this. For the budget that they did have for this movie, I thought it was good. Pretty impressive for the year this came out and the amount that they had for this movie. But then again, they were mainly just in the cube. They didn't really have much of a setting.
Yeah, you didn't even get. You just saw white space when this movie ended.
Pretty much. So you don't even get to know what the outside looks like.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that later. But there is spoiler territory if you have not seen this movie. But I personally liked this movie. I didn't know what I was going to get into with it, but I actually liked it. I thought it was good. Like, it's not the best horror movie I've seen, but I will admit, I was a lot more interested in it
I'm curious now. What is the best horror movie that you've ever seen?
I have not found that yet, and I'm not telling you what it is. But...
Why?
Because I want to wait till I find it and then tell you.
So you haven't even seen the best horror movie, in your opinion?
Yep.
Well, I thought I don't know. You liked some movies before.
Yeah, but I don't know. I have to, like, find one of these days I would like to give a 10 out of 10 horror movie, but I'm not going to do that for a while. But anyway.
I thought It would be the closest. Like, It Chapter 1 would be the closest one.
I don't know.
Would that be it? No?
Probably not.
Oh.
But anyway, But personally, for it being as bare bone as it was, I kind of liked it. Like, it wasn't as gory as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Whatever gore that they did have went pretty hard, though. I will say that. They kind of went all in with it.
It went pretty hard with the gore.
Yeah, like... There is a lot of, like, gory imagery every once in a while. Like, 2 times people got stabbed, a bunch of impalements. My goodness, and faces getting melted.
Horrible. I guess the most gory thing is the beginning of the movie with, like,
honestly,
the guy getting cut into little pieces.
Yeah.
But, like, that's
probably as bare bones as it gets.
That looks like tame. That looks like something, like, out of, like
Final Destination.
No, that looks like something out of, like a PS2.
Honestly, yeah. But then again, this came out in 97, so it's not that old. Like, well, it's old, but, like, compared to some other movies, like, we've talked about, I think, it's one of, like, the more modern ones, if you really think about it.
Yeah, because I've been showing you stuff from, like, the 80s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We watched a lot of Stephen King last year.
Yeah, Stephen King was what we mostly did last year, which I thought was surprising.
Yeah, and you were like... That's how Cujo ended? Ugh.
Some of them, I will admit, the endings were kind of like meh. But this one, I do like the premise of it.
What about Candyman?
Candyman was good.
It was really fucking good.
I liked the Candyman franchise. Minus...
No, I like the first one.
The first one is still the best. But I will admit, the other ones are interesting. I still think the remake was also pretty good. But that's a topic for another day. Because we've technically already reviewed that. If you want to go look on our channel, we've technically already reviewed the Candyman franchise.
Yeah.
For the most part. Did we ever review the final movie? I think we did.
What?
The final Candyman, the newer one?
I have no idea.
I don't remember if we did. If we did, we did. If not, I don't remember. But I know we watched it. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so... What did you think of the cast for this? Because I knew nobody going into this. I knew nobody.
I knew nothing either, so...
You didn't know anything about the cast and stuff, or like...
No, I didn't know nothing about this movie. I just thought it was like a science experiment gone wrong. But turns out it's not, so... I didn't... Really, I knew nothing about it.
No, me neither, but... I will say this, though. I would definitely watch more for this. Here's the funny thing. This has a sequel and a prequel! Which I didn't know either. Which I think is interesting, because it's like, this makes me wonder how a sequel or like a prequel of this would go, to be honest with you. Like, I'm curious, especially how this movie went. I was genuinely surprised at the way this movie went and how it ended, but my theory was fucking right, but I will get to that closer to the end. So, what did you think of the, like, who do you think was the best character in your opinion? Because to me, I actually liked Worth, like, the best. Worth was probably the best character, in my opinion. Along with, Calvin? What was his name? Who's the guy that wanted the gumdrops? What was his name again? Jay.
I'm trying to think. You have your phone. You can look it up.
I can look it up. Let me look it up while we're sitting here. But, Cube cast. Let me see. That's Kazan, Marinus, Alderson. I'm trying to think. Oh, Kazan?
Yeah, Kazan.
Kazan was also a pretty good character as well. I actually liked him as well. Him and Worth were probably like the best characters in my opinion. What do you think? Who was your favorite character out of these guys? Well, come on. You got to give somebody. Come on.
Everyone besides, what's his name?
Quentin,
Quentin,
like, the way that they framed his character throughout the entire movie.
It was weird.
It was weird. At first he was like the good guy trying to get out, and they made Worth kind of like the bad guy. But in the end, it got fucking reversed somehow. Either the writing got reversed or something. Because at the end, it ended
up a surprise twist villain.
Which I was not. I kind of had a feeling they were going to do it, but I wasn't expecting Quentin to be that. I was actually expecting Worth to kind of be the twist villain. Or heck, Kazan. Kazan I thought was going to be the twist villain.
I don't want that.
I know, but you liked that Quentin was the twist villain?
I didn't even enjoy him as the twist villain. Twist villains have to be enjoyable. I didn't really enjoy.
He was okay. Like, they could have done a bit better with him, but, like, there was some stuff I was actually not expecting them to do with this movie. Like, when Dr. Helen literally, like, was let
go of Dr. Helen.
I was so mad at that. I was like, don't you fucking do it.
When he made that, when she signed up to go out there, I'm like, she's dead.
Are you sure? Because I was like...
Yeah, because I was like, either she's going to die from the ropes or someone's going to let go of her. And sure enough, someone let go of her.
But I will say this, though. So I had a theory at the beginning of this. I was like, okay, here's kind of what I'm thinking. I think either one or two people are going to be surviving of this or everyone's going to fucking die, like in Final Destination. Those are my only theories I had. And my theory was right. Only one person fucking lived. And I was like, damn, I was actually right for once. Heck yeah. So I guess, what did you think of, I guess, the way that they decided, let's eliminate almost everybody? Because I was thinking at least at first the three of them were going to get out, and I was like, wait, maybe they won't do that.
No, because I was like, nah, this is set up too much, and something's going to happen. And it did.
Yeah. I will also mention this.
He came back and he stabbed them all.
Did you say he shamued them all?
He stabbed them all except for Jason.
Yeah. But, I wish they kind of gave more backstory to some of the characters. All we know is that Quentin is a divorced dad of 3. Helen is a fucking doctor. We don't know anything about Kazan at all. Like, legit nothing. Except he likes gumdrops. That's literally fucking it. Who's the other girl's name? Joan, I think was her name, from what I'm looking at. She's basically a math nerd and just knows about, like, sciencey stuff. And apparently Worth was one of the people that made the fucking thing, which I was not expecting either. That was completely...
They made the outside of it. He didn't make the
But you know what I mean. That's still throwing me off, that he had something to do with it. But this makes me wonder... why he was even in there in the first place. Heck, why did they pull these people specifically?
He got too close to the sun. Probably.
But yeah, so personally, I like how they did this, but I wish they would have gave a little bit more backstory to some of these characters. Maybe the other movies fucking do. I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Because it would be interesting to see what they do from here.
And if they don't focus on anything other than, like, just the setting,
then I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But I would like to know more about these characters and stuff like that. At least Worth and what he had to do with it. Why do I feel like the prequel is going to be about him? I feel like that's probably what it is. But yeah, there is a sequel to this and a prequel. I don't know if we're going to be watching them for this Halloween Spectacular or not. It's going to depend
probably
on
not.
It's going to depend on if we can get through what we already have planned first. But if not, we're definitely doing them next year. I will say that right now. We're fucking doing them next year. I don't care. Because I would like to eventually go back and watch the other ones for this. Because I think they were interesting. Like, would you watch the sequel and the prequel? Because I would.
I would too. It's just, it's not going to be, like, my favorite trilogy in the world. Because it's like, I mean, the concept is interesting enough, but it's okay. It's like a trap movie, which I like those, but I normally like them for, like, how far they can take it. I don't know.
But I am curious to see where it goes from here, because I would like to know what they do with these movies, honestly, So I will say this. Depending on how long it takes for us to finish the ones we already have planned, we might do these this year. If not, we're definitely doing them next year. Does that sound like a plan?
Mm-hmm.
Because I would like to see where these other movies go, if I'm being completely honest. I think it'd be interesting, in my personal opinion. But I guess another question I want to ask would be... what did you think of the way that they designed the whole cube? I thought it
was, like, creative. Like, there's entrances going from every single angle. And, like, you choose which entrance to go in. It could be booby-trapped, it could be not. So I think the concept itself is cool.
Me too.
Like,
they could have executed the story a bit better.
For something that has to be a psychological horror movie, I feel like it could be more
fleshed out,
involved. Yes, and fleshed out too. So,
which then again, they might have done something with the sequel. You never know. They could have expanded on it, or they could have talked about it in the prequel. Because both the prequel and the sequel came out in the early 2000s.
Well, no, because normally sequels aren't as good as the first one.
Well, you never know. They might expand on it. Sometimes series expand on it in another installment. It kind of just depends on who's directing it.
Mm-hmm.
But I am curious to see if they actually expand upon it, because it would be kind of interesting to see how they do, especially with how this movie went. I guess, did you have anything unexpected out of it? Like, was there anything that just kind of threw you off in this that you were expecting but didn't go the way it planned? Because I was not expecting Quentin to be the bad guy. That's the one thing I was not expecting. I knew he was an ass. I knew him and Worth were assholes. But I was actually not expecting for Quentin to be the surprise villain. Heck, I was surprised he fucking killed Joan and Worth at the end. I thought he was dead.
Yeah, it was like, he came back. I'm like, where the fuck did he go? Like, really?
Because, they tried to...
Not so bad that he was like, I'm gonna kill all of you.
They attempted to kill him the first time. Didn't fucking work. They attempted to kill him the second time. He fucking came back. And then third time, I guarantee you he's fucking dead. If he is somehow not fucking dead...
He's dead.
I'm gonna be genuinely surprised.
He got cut in half.
You never know. They could probably do some weird
cut
shit.
In half and he's gone.
Watch us say that, and he comes back in the sequel with robotic legs or something.
He's coming back.
That'd be funny if he did, though.
Yeah,
but I was not actually expecting the ending the way it did. I was right with my theory, but I was thinking probably Worth was gonna get out. That's who I thought was originally gonna get out, but it turned out to be Kazan, I think is how you say his name.
Mm-hmm.
Kazan, something like that. I was surprised he was the one that got out.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie. That surprised me and took me for a loop. I was like, damn, he got out?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy he was the one that got out, though, if I'm being completely honest. Like, I was kind of happy about that. What about you?
Yeah.
I guess, do you have any more thoughts before we give our rating?
No, not really.
But, would you watch the sequel and the prequel? Because I would.
Probably, but if it's the same as this movie, I'll probably watch it only once.
Yeah. But we'll figure it out once we get through all these other movies. Because I was not expecting this to be, like, a trilogy, to be completely honest with you. I thought it was just going to be a one and done kind of thing. So I'm curious to see what they do with it after this. But like I said before, we will eventually review the sequel and the prequel. It's just going to depend on if we can get through it, the other ones we already planned on doing. And if we already get through all the ones we planned, then we'll do these two as an extra if you want. Does that sound okay, honey?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll give my rating first. For the budget that it had and for basically the setting alone, I was genuinely impressed with this movie. The plot was a bit bare bone, but I feel like it has potential. It has potential. I just feel like they should have done a little bit more with it. Like, something I do think that they should improve on is how the characters are... Like, you barely get any info about the characters. They're very one-note. So something I will say that they should improve on, hopefully in the sequel and maybe the prequel, I would like to get some kind of more background for the characters. And that we need to do a little bit more with the plot. I think those are really my biggest complaints with it. But other than that, for like the whole like thrill of it, I did think it was a good movie. They just should have done a little bit more with like plot and characters. What do you think?
Yeah.
So for that, if we're just grading it on plot and characters, it would probably not be as high. But the entire movie as a whole, I would probably overall give it probably like a 6 out of 10. I think it's a good movie. It has potential.
I would give it a 5 out of 10.
You give it a 5. Would you watch it again?
Probably not.
Probably not. But you would at least watch the sequel and the prequel to see what they do with it. Because if they actually do something with the prequel and the sequel, maybe the movie would be a little bit higher. But because we just watched the singular movie, it's definitely a 6 out of 10 for me. I feel like they could have done better. But for what we got, I did think it was interesting. Let's just hope the sequel and the prequel are either better or at least not terrible. Let's hope it's not less than a 6. Let's say that. So yeah, that's basically the end of our first podcast for the Halloween Spectacular 2024 season. So thank you guys for watching, and our next episode will be soon. So I'm Mari.
I'm Jay.
And we're out.